I used to think that life was a game. In fact, people on this app say that play it like a game. And with games come rules. And I found the better part of the first 20 to 30 years of my life trying to figure out what those rules were, because they're not written anywhere. They're not posted on a sign. They're not handed out at a book at school. So what are the rules to life, and what does actually winning mean? But then I realized something about these rules of life that changed everything. Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome back to Evolve with Alana. Hi, I'm Alana. So today I've been thinking a lot about life and my place in it and how I used to view it. I was a very studious child. I was very well behaved. I was very attentive to different interactions. I understood the different social cues of being in different places. Any black kid remembers being a little kid and just being so fidgety in a certain area, and then we all get that stare from that mother saying, "Don't embarrass me here." And that stare used to scare me. So I made it my life's mission to figure out these unspoken rules to life. What made a good life? Looking for those rules and figuring them out for ourselves is daunting and an ever-growing search. When I would ask my parents or ask my religious leaders, they all had different sayings about what made a good life. What were the rules to these lives? That even the rules given to me as to what makes a good life can be contradictory. Like what we see on social media, in movies, and in books, they give you examples of what they deem what a good life is. But even in movies and books, they will contradict each other in terms of what rules make a good life. And then when you talk to other people, your peers may have one image of what a good life is versus what your parents think what a good life is versus a neighbor thinks what a good life is. And you have all these rules coming on to you, and you're trying to get through this life just to have a good life. And then on a nondescript morning, I realized that there are no rules. There are no rules to having a good life. Truly. There's opinions. There's suggestions. But there aren't rules. Not rules that you follow that would guarantee you to have a good life and feel good about it at the end, before you meet your maker. That all these social cues and social norms and rules that you have cobbled together throughout your life, they're all just made up. They're not real. For some, that is a freeing experience. That everything's made up. That you just go along the way. You make up your rules as you go. And for others, me including, it's kind of frightening. Not realizing you don't have a path, that you're lost in the woods, and you just don't know if you step to the left, will you be stepping on solid ground, or on the right, that you'll step into quicksand. What I did to figure out how to live my life is to first center on myself, to truly know what my ideal life would be like, separate from the images that show up on television or in social media, separate from what my parents had envisioned for me, separate from how family, loved ones may see for me. What would make me happy? For me, being close to nature, being able to walk in nature daily makes me happy. Now, for some of you, you might have remembered I live in New York City. Believe it or not, New York has more nature places than you could imagine. Where I have seen everything from raccoons, yes, those little raccoons, to groundhogs, rabbits, turtles. Yes, and in the wild, mind you, they're not someone's pet. I've seen foxes. Hell, I've even seen a wolf. But for me, my happiness in life is being able to walk in nature, walk in what I lovingly call God's cathedral, and to be with nature and listen as God gives me His instructions and His guidance. It doesn't quite matter what my house looks like or where I live. It doesn't quite go with the amount of money that is in my bank account. But that at the core is my perfect life. Being able to just be with nature. And because of that, I surrounded my life around being around nature. The apartment I even have is close to a park, close to a nature preserve that I go to quite often. And I built my life around that. Once again, another way that I make my life mine is actually right here on YouTube. I have a lot of advice that people had asked me for and wondered about. So that's why I have this YouTube channel today. I'm building my perfect life. There was no rule for me to do this. Shoot, when I first was born, YouTube was not in existence, believe it or not. But the rules are made up. You make the rule for your life. And when you find them by focusing on yourself and what you truly need, your life can be beautiful. Regardless of where you live, where you are, and what you do. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.